Guys, hello, Mary, meet everybody. It's MicheleMarieDalene. It's the 23rd of August, and the reason I'm on the porch today is I got up late, and I went to the soup kitchen and everything, but I wanted to spend more time to talk to you, so I grabbed this phone instead of the other one, because the other one only limits me to about 10 minutes, and I never know how long this is going to go. These is sort of a vlog, bcast, so it's a little longer, a little more freeform, and I'm sorry it's not a live chat, but I choose not to go with live chats in some cases because I wanted to get some things out in the open and talk about it. Today, this applies to anybody who has phones outside. You will notice that my phone wasn't working, and it was because the corrosion had settled in on the connectors on the bottom, mainly on the line cord, but also on the handset cord. There was a little bit of corrosion. So some people were, unfortunately, not able to actually talk to anybody. And so I couldn't find all my other Q-tips. I found one. But you can see this is the phone. That was dirty. And then I used some standard isopropyl alcohol here. And then I used, after I got the contacts as clean as I could, I went to the WD-40 to really, really give it a good serious corrosion protection, and it worked. My phone works. Yay. A simple repair. And that's something you have to do anyway if you have anything outdoors. Sometimes, especially electrical things, the phone was getting kind of crackly and sounded bad. And you'll notice that on this phone, my hair has a different color than the other camera does. It's a camera thing. And of course, my hair is growing out. So, yeah. You probably noticed that too. Last night, we used the same camera. Did we ever find out why the Google Hangouts on air on my iPhone was not working when it worked fine a couple days ago? No, I didn't. But you know what? Apple has got a notorious habit of older phones. Firmware doesn't get updated after so many revisions for reasons that sometimes the older phones don't have the resources to run the newer stuff. So what happens is older programs are not being updated past a certain release point. So an older phone, so if you're using, as I am, the Google Hangouts, which is the latest version for 8.3, it's kind of working like Google Hangouts app on my iMac until Quartz Duo. It's the same basic thing. What the difference is it's not even making phone. I mean, I don't know if it's making phone calls or not, but it certainly was not joining the live chat. Whereas this Android phone is running Nougat. So this is a much more current Android environment than my iPhone is. So instead of fighting over which phone to use for which video, I just grabbed this phone because I had to recharge the battery on the other one anyway. So I think we're going to talk briefly. Yeah, I know what you mean. Briefly with Michelle, that probably means a 30-minute long video. Well, sit down a spell, because we're going to talk a little bit about technology as far as iPhone versus the Android ecosystem. And I think you might agree with me on this. First of all, Apple has what they call a very tight control on their platform. They control everything, as I mentioned once before. They control the development platform, they control the software, they control the hardware. So they have total control over everything that's going on, whereas Android is more open. Unfortunately, that also means that Android devices are also, unfortunately, more susceptible to incompatibilities with software not working with certain manufacturers' screens or, hardware. Okay? And it's because hardware manufacturers have some leeway of what they will and will not support. So unfortunately, it results in some problems. For example, on the BlackBerry Key 2 and Key 1, certain Android phones do not use the keyboard effectively. On other applications, they work fine with the keyboard and they do great even from non-BlackBerry apps. So again, there's an example where the manufacturer's specifics could also result in problems for software development. Never mind the fact that the Androids get tons of screen sizes and everything else that's related to the hardware, whereas with iOS, everything is pretty simple up until the iPhone 5. When you start to see bigger screens, and of course the 6, the 6S, the 7, the 7S, the 8, and of course the 10, all have different form factors, screen sizes, camera resolutions, and all kinds of problems, which has made it much harder for Apple. But compared to Android, it's a lot less fragmented ecosystem. But unfortunately, there are things also at Android which, because it's an open platform, has made it easy for bad people to do bad stuff with your phone. We know about the Bitcoin mining malware. We know about which would be fine if you wanted to install. See, voluntarily install a Bitcoin miner or Monero miner, whatever you want. If you want to install that on your phone and leave your phone plugged into your charger continuously, because otherwise you'll run your battery down to the dregs and beyond, that would be fine. But unfortunately, the malware people are not asking for your permission. They're just doing it. It's even more serious, of course, is that people like to root their phones. Now, rooting the phones is kind of a strange concept. Basically, it's like jailbreaking on an iPhone, where you basically totally expose all the electronic permissions and everything to you to change things and mess with the settings, and even things that you shouldn't be messing with when you're rooting a phone. Unless, of course, you're a developer, where you might need to do those things. But for the average everyday person, rooting a phone is bad juju. It certainly is an idea. Now, myself, when I get the new Mac, we're going to be doing some software development on the Android platform. Oh, you didn't think of that? Oh, yes, indeed. To offset being able to do better high quality video and things like that, we're going to be able to do software development using High Sierra. So we're going to be doing some software development for Android and iOS as well. But I don't know much about the platform development for iOS or Android to really know how the integrated development environment works yet. So it's going to take a whole new learning curve just to figure out how to do that. But hey, I got time. I'll do it. But let's talk also about the desktop, because I mentioned the desktop last night briefly on the Quincy Report. There is a new way of doing things. It seems like the newest standard interface on the market now of significance is Thunderbolt 3. Now, and USB-C and USB 3.1, those are the three major ones. USB-C, and apparently, I guess, is somewhat compatible with Thunderbolt, and USB-C, of course, is somewhat compatible with USB 3.1. Please understand the USB-C is just a connector specification. It is not the environment itself. That's where things get interesting. Now, because Thunderbolt was created by Intel, as was the USB standards, it makes sense that Intel would want to expand their platform to have newer protocols added to existing standards. Now, what's nice about Thunderbolt versus dedicated interfaces like FireWire, SCSI, and even Apple Desktop Bus, and even the Commodore 64 IEEE 480 interface and the IEC connector, which is used for the Commodore 64 and VIC-20 and Commodore 128, it's a fast bus. Thunderbolt 1 has speeds bidirectionally of up to 10 gigabits. Is it gigabits or gigabytes? I think it's gigabits per second. But like SCSI has a limitation of cable length, and like SCSI, you can also daisy chain up to 6 devices. Now, I don't know if, like on SCSI, if it's a passive type interface or if it requires things like backplanes or special active logic. I don't know. But here's the cool thing, which is going to be awesome for laptop people and also some desktop people who are using integrate all-in-one computers with Thunderbolt, is that you can mount by an external Thunderbolt case that holds, say, 2 or more, or even 1 or more PCIe slots. Is that you can actually plug in your favorite PCIe cards, video cards, sound cards, and things like that. Otherworld Computing makes one for the Mac, which of course has the support for it. For the Mac platform, that gives you the ability to plug in your favorite PCIe cards into this external box, which for the iMac is a godsend. Think about why. You want to use SCSI in your iMac? It'd be a lot easier now. Instead of using another dongle hanging off the back of the machine, you can just take on a PC, you open up your external closure, you pop in a standard ATTO PCIe SCSI card, and away you go. See, Adaptec kind of lost the deal with Apple some time ago, so that's one reason the standard now that supports ATTO, whereas my old Power Mac G5 is using an Adaptec Ultra 2 wide low voltage differentials, because he said that I don't need to go into the details of the specs, but the point is that was the last of the adaptive cards that worked with the Power Mac G5. I don't think they have an Intel based code for a PC chips. It's the Intel line of chips, but I don't know. I never looked to see if there was Intel compatible driver in there or not. That's not the point. Now, by the way, speaking of drivers, apparently Thunderbolt under High Sierra, there is support for many of these enclosures out of the box, already installed on the Mac, available in the system. So you should be able to plug in external Thunderbolt to PCIe card cage, as I call it, and then the individual cards, of course, will need drivers, but I don't know how that works. This is all new to me, guys. Bear with me, all right? What I have to think is, I was talking to you about how I was going to get the 2011 iMac. Well, I just saw on eBay, I don't know what model it is, but it is one heck of a nice iMac. This is an i7 iMac, and it looks like a newer one, running at 3 gigahertz. I was like, ooh, how much? List price, $339. I'm like, wow. Thunderbolt or not, I'll take that. I mean, that's like, if I can find one at the time I have the money, that's like, it was like smoking fast. Just looking at it, it screamed speed. I was like, oh yeah, this is what I want, baby. This is what I want looking for. Nice and toasty. Unfortunately, the heatsink on it probably is nice and toasty too. Of course, if it is the newer Macs after the 2011, the thing is glued shut. But as Linus Tech Tips found out, the reason why Apple glued the Mac shut is not only because they don't want you to dick around with the insides, it's because the power supply has no protection from getting a nasty zip, because the power supply is open. Okay? an open circuit board, no card cage protection, nothing. Okay? It would be very easy to destroy yourself and destroy your computer with that power supply. So that is probably why Apple said, nah, to avoid any problems with the underwriter's lab, we're just going to seal this thing shut. And then, and we'll take care of everything. All you have to do is bring us to Mac to the Apple Store, make an appointment, and then we'll fix it for you. As Linus Tech Tips found out, it might be the easiest way to deal with it because Macs are really meant, especially in the later years, to be more of a, remember the vertical marketing thing I talked to you about at the beginning? We take care of everything, the walled garden thing. We take care of the operating system. We take care of the hardware. We take care of the software. All you have to do is just be the nut that sits between the chair and the computer. Thanks, Abe. That's like the cute logo. He was talking about forklift in that case. But in this case, the person between the computer is the only variable you have to deal with. Except it's a big variable because people don't always follow the rules, and they never have. In some cases, it's almost like Bugs Bunny said about Yosemite Sam in the desert. Is he stubborn enough to open up all those doors? Kablam! Yep, he's stubborn enough. In other words, people will do whatever they want. And that's, for me, being my eyesight is not that good. Besides doing the obvious cleaning on corrosion on contacts on the connectors and plugs, I don't really feel comfortable sticking my fingers in a side of a computer when you have a totally exposed high voltage electrical section. No, thank you very much. I'll do it if I can make sure that the capacitors are discharged and that they're not likely to come out and give me a nasty little bite, which we're talking about voltages in those capacitors. That is almost as bad as a flyback transformer in an old CRT TV. It's really not a good thing to mess with. But some people may try it anyway. Let's put it this way. It's your life. Use it when you want. Just don't hold me accountable for your stupidity, okay? So last night we had a great chat on Cringe Report with Rich, Lixor Masks, and of course me, and also with Cringe Report himself, or TNCC. We had a great time. And I had a great time also on my channel as well. I was very sorry that Ginger Marie was not part of it last night. She did say to me that she wants to do Sunday. And so we're going to try to see if we can continue me and her chat on Sunday. But I did spend time last night with Jen Lixor Masks. And we had a very nice conversation that kind of dovetailed well with me and Ginger Marie's from Monday. We was talking about the stupid stunts that kids are doing, these stupid challenges that are risking the life and limbs of people. I'm going to say right now, guys, just because you see something on TV doesn't mean it's safe for you to do it. Please understand that those people who are doing things on TV either A, have stunt people, or people there who are trained to help them make sure to do something safely. If you do it wrong, you could die. Okay? It's not a challenge. Like I said, there are people in this world that are stubborn enough they'll do stupid shit, but I'd rather live, thank you. I've got a long life. This is one of the longest lives I've ever had. I'm 50 years old. I plan to live to be a centenarian. That's my goal. I want to be 100 plus when I finally go home. I want to be 100 plus years old, and that would be 70 plus years older than my prior life, about 33. Wow, think about it. That's a big change. Okay? That's my goal. As far as some of the topics about we've been covering with Out on the Wire and things like that, I mentioned Mark Taylor's prophecies. You really should check them out. They're really very, very interesting when he talks about the Trump prophecies. I can give you a link to the playlist of the channel that has all of them and discussion from it, and they're really, really amazing. They're in discussion with Mark Taylor. Of course, it's a religious evangelical channel, so if you're going to watch it, please understand that God is involved a lot. So if you're not a person who believes in God, or if you're atheist or if you're agnostic, and you're sensitive to religious discussion, you may want to back away from that channel. But if you are like me or People of Peace and actually find that stuff enduring and alluring, and we're going to watch it. And no, People of Peace, I didn't watch your Kanye special yet. I'm going to watch it. I have time today. I'm going to do it today. I just wanted to get in the video. That, like I said this morning, I didn't do one at the soup. I slept in late. I was really, really spiritually excited but exhausted last night. There was so much stuff going on. And it was just amazing to cover all of the stuff. But for now, before everybody starts falling asleep on me, I'm going to end the session for right now. But, oh yes, by the way, for those of you who wondered about the therapy sessions, my therapist, she said to me that I'm doing really well with Lumi, and we're doing great as a team. She does not see it as multiple personality disorder. Some of you did wonder about that. Nor does it manifest itself as DID under the DSM-5. She confirmed that. In addition to that, she says, you need Lumi. Lumi and you work together, and you guys do great things together. Thank God. A medical professional advice that says the same thing me and Michelle have been saying from day one. Yep. And she said to me, Michelle, that I think we got 2 more sessions left, and that's about it. We don't need to go any more than 2 more. And she said, because I don't see you or Michelle having a bad time. You're doing better now. You're dealing with the people on YouTube. Your channel's growing. You're starting to recover from those bad experiences from a couple months ago. And I'm wishing you the best of luck. Also, may I finish? Yes, yeah, you may. I was going to say also, we're coming to the end of the Time with Wynwood Residential Services CSP program. Next week, we're starting the process of closing down that case as well and planning our discharge from the Wynwood Residential Services program. So we will no longer be involved with any kind of mental health program. So maybe you might be asking a question, which is a technical, practical question, is what about grocery shopping? Well, I have a couple ways to go grocery shopping. I can, for example, I have friends that could take me to the store if I need to go, which is often, but not excessively so. I also have, of course, I can mail order supplies. I mail ordered the cat food and cat litter and other domestics from Walmart this month. And we haven't even opened the new bag of cat food yet. So we have 30 pounds of cat food for next month. And we put money in our savings account now. We've got about $70 in savings, which is a nice chunk of change. And we are going to almost get done paying off our credit card for Care Credit, which is our medical care card. That's almost paid off. And then we can start working more diligently and putting more towards the Capital One card and paying that off. And then maybe, just maybe, once everybody's current, we can start working on some of the companies that have sent my bills to collections in the past and start nailing them one by one. One by one, we will get each of these issues done. Now, as far as what Out on the Wire said about Donald Trump possibly getting in a civil lawsuit with the New York Times, guess what? He can handle it. He was chosen by God. Civil lawsuits in business are a common thing. They are as common as, contracts. Because once, think about it, you have to deal with contracts in business, it's the same deal. You have to involve lawyers. He can handle that. Not a problem. All right. So for now, I want to thank you for watching this. I know it was a little long. Don't forget, I will see you on Sunday night on YouTube and on Discord. And are we going to go back to having Twitch on? Yes, once we get the new computer, because I think part of the problem is that's why it was crashing. Restream.io may be part of the problem. But that's something that we're going to get to as we can down the line. But for now, thank you guys. See you later. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, everybody.